Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Friday night. Here's the question tonight. What difference does having a coach make when you want to achieve success in your productivity journey and indeed in anything in life? That is the question that we're going to tackle tonight. And I'm super excited because this, y'all, is exactly 1 year ago, this Friday, tonight, the second Friday in October that this show started, that I started live streaming. And I am thrilled to be here with this 1 year, having reached this 1 year milestone of the Purposeful Productivity Show. Welcome. I'm your host, Florence. I help leaders remove the friction from your system so that you can achieve your purpose. And tonight, I have a special guest because I have my live stream coach. He is a producer, he's a content creator, he's a live streamer, he is a great friend, he is a strong man of God, and he pushed me out here. And then he was my wings when I started floundering. I want to welcome none other than the fantastic Walter Strong to the show. Walter, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here with us tonight.
Well, good evening, Florence. Good evening, Productivity Live crew. Glad to be back one more time and to celebrate your 1 year anniversary in being a live stream content creator, adding value to your live tribe.
Well, I wouldn't be here without you.
Mm,
About a year and a half ago,
hmm
I found your first channel, and then about August, I got brave enough to put one comment in to wish you happy birthday because I heard you say that your family was celebrating you.
hmm hmm
And you immediately started talking with me. And by
hmm
October, I made a commitment. And by October, the show was born. And you
hmm
have been with me every step of the way. And I, not just from a productivity standpoint, but just from being there to answer questions. And we're going to dig into that. But before
hmm
we do, tell folks a little bit about you because you've had some changes this year yourself. So I want them to know all about who you are.
So, who is Walter Strong III? I am a husband, a devoted father, and a person who strives to be a faithful son, even though my father is and my mother are in heaven, but still living to carry on their legacy and their name. So I strive to be a faithful son in that and carrying on the legacy of my last name. I am also a person who has a passion for live streaming and content creation and just helping individuals who share that same passion to build confidence on camera, helping them to find clarity in the message that they want to communicate to their audience, and just being a committed, supporting person, helping them along their journey to reach their goals that they want to do, whether if it's on YouTube or some other platform. That's just a little about myself personally.
Well, that's a lot about you, but it says a lot about who you are. And
hmm
I am you and I talked before because
hmm
you're my coach and we meet pretty much every week. But let's
hmm
see who's out here because we've got a couple of folks who are commenting right now. And I'll just say this: the show would not be possible without two of these folks. And so I want to give them just as much honor as I'm giving you. And I'm going to start with someone who, well, they both love you. Uh, Frank
Oh.
Jackson, who is our one of our moderators. He's also my
hmm
best friend in the world, as you know.
hmm
And
hmm
welcome, Frank. Thank you for being here, continuing to serve. Thank you for sticking with me for a whole year. Thank you so much. And the other who's commented so far is none other than your buddy, the emotional CEO. And look, Walter is live with us. Awesome.
You know,
So,
what I find interesting about these two individuals, they remind me when I first helped a client with their retirement account when I used to work in banking. And back in those days, you know, CDs had very low rates, and individuals were really trying to find out what was the best thing to do. And so part of my job was to sell fixed annuities. They were not very popular amongst people, but I needed to be able to put clients in that. That was part of my sales goal. And I sat and I met with a client, and they did like a fixed annuity of about somewhere between $75,000 to $80,000. And then fast forward a year after that, they came to see me and they just dropped a check for about $100,000 and said, "We'll be back." So I was like, "What do you mean you? And what do you want with this? I mean, what are you trying to do? You want me to put in the savings?" No, no, we just want you to do another fixed annuity. So I purposely waited till they come back, and they got mad at me. They were like, "Why didn't you have everything set up?" I said, "Well, it doesn't work like that. You just don't drop $100,000 and just put someone. There's the process." And they said, "We have the utmost confidence in you, first of all, in terms of how you helped us. And then number two, we had our accountant vet you to make sure what you put us in was going to meet our retirement goals." You say, "Well, what does that have to do with you?" Through us working together and Joshua, the emotional CEO, and Frank come alongside and hearing some of the things that we were talking about, it gave me that same sense of, yeah, we vetted this guy. He definitely has Florence's best interest at hand in her messages being communicated to the audience. So I take that experience from what I had in banking is the same way in content creation, and knowing they feel the same way in terms of what you're doing because they came alongside in your team and say, "We want to support this." So that's what that means to me.
yeah, they're a little protective, and we fuss, but that's what happens. Let's say hello to another person who has joined us in the live tribe, and
Mm-hmm.
you may not, Louise, all the way from South Carolina. Welcome, glad to see you in the building. It's been a minute, but I'm so excited to see you as always. But we have folks who are watching who may not comment. You're a part of the live tribe. Thank you for being here, and thank you for this year journey that you've been on with us. And if you're listening and you're part of the magical replay crew, welcome. And please leave a comment. It's 1 year, and I just have to say this because I was super thrilled to achieve it. 1 year, and we reached 100 subscribers. I don't know. In the big world of
Wow.
YouTube, that may not mean anything to anyone, but it means a
Mm-hmm.
ton to me. So I'm going to ask you, Walter, can you reflect on what was it like when you got your first 100 subscribers, when you had your first channel? And you haven't talked about any of your channels, so you may want to talk about those a little bit.
Sure. Okay. So I started with the Huddle with Walter Strong the Third, which is basically a content creation channel that deals with just coaching and helping individuals start on YouTube like yourself. And so when I hit that milestone of 100 subscribers, I felt like I had finally had accomplished something in terms of that. Okay, this is something that I can do, and 100 subscribers have come forth and said we all unanimously or collectively concur that you have something of value that we want to listen to every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. And so to have those 100 subscribers come forward and over time and do that, it was like a vote of confidence that they believed in what I was sharing. Because a lot of individuals, when they get on for whatever reason, sometimes they get on and they want things from the audience. They don't want to share anything unless there's some type of monetary exchange or transaction. And so I was trying to do this with just giving it free. saying, I want to see you be successful. And as you're successful, well, your success will be my success. And so that first 100 subscribers let me know that it was possible. It was possible to do that versus seeing it done other ways. So that's what it kind of meant to me.
And what about your channels? Let's talk about those a little bit because I want people to really know who you are. You've had a exciting journey, and I've watched a little bit this year, and even watched you go through some productivity changes.
Sure. So the first channel, The Huddle with Walter Strong the Third, that channel primarily focused on coaching and helping individuals like yourself who wanted to start live streaming and communicating with an audience, helping individuals who want to speak to an audience but didn't start out with an audience and want to know how to be able to build an audience. So I've had that channel a little over good maybe 4 to 5 years in doing that. I reached a point with that channel from a standpoint that in YouTube, it's important to be able to identify who your target audience is, identify the individuals that you're trying to reach. And it became over time a community channel where there were creators who were into tech, creators who were into podcasting, creators who were into different types of things. But when I tried to niche it down further so that it would grow organically, it became literally a challenge to do so because when you have a community of different people, people come to you for all different things and reasons. So to try to move everybody in one direction, at a certain point the channel just became stagnant. And when the channel began to become stagnant, I had to make a decision to say, I still have this channel, but I have to look at exploring starting a new channel. And so the second channel that I started was called NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III, where I'm sharing my love and passion for NBA basketball with other fans who love basketball just like myself. And what I found with that second channel was I was able to niche that channel down to now one group of people. Whether if you are a Celtic fan, you're a Wizard fan, or a Knicks fan, or you're a Piston fan like myself, we all love NBA basketball. So I was able to niche it down, and now I'm talking to one audience, and I begin to see the channel now begin the organic growth that what I wanted to see with the other channel. And so I had to make a pivot to that other channel with the understanding is that this first channel, it's organically grown as far as it can grow, unless I'm willing to make some hard choices and niching it down where I start isolating the community down to one segment of individuals. And I just didn't want to do that because I was meeting individuals like yourself. I was meeting other individuals who are in content creation like Roy, Philip from Fish Stick, just to throw his name out. And I didn't want to isolate the channel like that because of the relationships online that I built. And I said, I'll just start a second channel. And so that's what I've been doing now for the last 3.5 months now.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about that process of self discovery that you went through in
Mm-hmm.
making that decision and what it looked like as you began to work it out. Because I remember you talking about designing the show in how little time. So you became very efficient at what you
Mm-hmm.
were doing in this journey. And so there's a lot here that Walter has shared that may not seem like it has anything to do with being productive, but it has everything because you were targeted. And then when you decided to design this new show, you did it pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Talk about that and what it was like and what you used and what you were thinking. Cause like when you said you did it, I was like, you did what, huh? I can't even get a good show together. It take me like 2 weeks, and you did that in what kind of time? So
Oh,
yeah.
in terms of the design and just the clarity of what the channel was about, I guess in terms of this second channel, it had always been with me even doing the first channel. But I was a firm believer of, you're working on one thing, don't start a second thing. I think sometimes we as content creators, we have these ideas. I want to start a channel here and I want to start a channel there. But if we are starting new and trying to grow something, and we're speaking to content creators as well as individuals, let's say in productivity, that may want to have an element of content creation. If you're trying to start multiple things and you haven't established the first thing, it's going to be very challenging. I love the quote from Rocky, the movie, where Mickey says to Rocky Balboa, he says, "I want you to catch this chicken." Him catching that chicken from the beginning to the movie towards the end of the movie was one of the most difficult and frustrating things for him. But because he listened to his coach, since we're talking about coaching as well, and he bought into what he wanted of him in terms of preparing for this fight against Apollo Creed, he ultimately caught that chicken. And the reason why he needed to learn to catch that chicken was because he needed to build speed as a professional boxer. Had he would have tried to catch two chickens at the same time, now this is just my personal conviction. Had he tried to catch two chickens, he would have drove himself insane and he would drove his coach Mick insane, and you would not have seen him fight Apollo Creed. And so I've always believed that. And so when it came time to now build the second channel, I had to make a conscious decision to say, it's time to pause and put this channel to the side right now. Don't go back 3 months from now and try to go back and revisit. You make a decision to say, I'm going to put this on pause and I'm going to start this new channel, because I was seeing certain things with YouTube when people start out. I was seeing how certain channels were starting to get instant success in certain things. They didn't have great thumbnails, they didn't have great titles, but they would put a video together and they would get this instant success on it. And I'm like, what's up with this? Why is this happening? I know all these things about YouTube, but it's like YouTube is giving these newer creators these things, but if you're a channel that's been around for 4 or 5 years, you for some reason you just become stagnant, though you're putting all this hard work and effort in. And so I challenged that thought process. And true to form, I sat down, I wrote out the channel, I wrote out the value proposition, I began to design the look of what I wanted to say, and then what it the look of how it would someone would look when they go to the first channel, and the content. And it was like I put everything together in less than a week. And I was like, I couldn't do that with my regular channel because it would take me at least a good week to put everything together. And I'm like, how did I just put this together like this? And so it was like a release was that you need to explore this. But again, it took some time, formulating and putting that together.
And so that was great for you. And
Hmm.
I will say I learned from you because I started. This is where the pivot comes, y'all. And
Hmm.
so if you have a coach and you're listening to what they're doing, but you're also asking questions along the way, I started asking more and more questions about the reason those decisions were being made and what was driving them so that I could understand. And
Hmm.
along the way, you started giving me advice about how I was communicating with my audience to be sure I was being clear
Hmm.
about
Hmm.
who I wanted to reach, who I wanted to serve, and make sure that every time I'm in front of the camera in the mic, that is the person that I want. I say it all the time. I want to serve professionals, nonprofits, executives, leaders, faith-based organizations to remove friction.
Hmm.
And listening to you, it
Hmm.
actually reduced me trying to serve too broad of an audience. And it
Hmm.
allowed me to be able to crystallize
Mm-hmm.
each show, and what information I shared and what information I didn't share, and and the way I shared it.
Mm-hmm.
So while it may not seem obvious, that crystallization that you went through, you also helped me go through it with you, but for my own purpose, so that I didn't spend 2 years off track
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know I was off track.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
And
you know,
and I think that's a normal process for us as new content creators or creators who's been creating for a while and you've become stagnant. To take that self evaluation, and again, no offense if a person wants to go to a Sean Cannell or go to someone, and I'm just throwing out familiar Nick Nimmin content creators or Daryl Eves, because sometimes, or Roberto Blake, where they'll ask you to pay something monetarial to evaluate because you trust their opinion. However, what you've also taught me, when you get two like-minded people together who value each one another's opinion and you want to learn from one another, there is a development of trust between either between those two individuals or that group, where a person can say, I need to take an honest assessment to step back and see why this is not working. And once you get that answer from that person who provides you that feedback, or persons, then it becomes a matter of which you talked about, the importance of valuing coaching. Um, are you going to value that coaching and do something with it? Because what I found in this journey of content creation, you can have a circle of people around you, with you, but their motives of why they're with you, unfortunately, can be selfish because it's something they want from you, with hoping that they can benefit from it, what they want from it. But the minute when it comes to you and your growth, and you being able to now get 100 subscribers, am I going to be there to celebrate you in the process of trying to get there? And am I certainly going to be there when it's time to light the 100 candles when you get your 100 subscribers? That's part of the journey and what we learn.
and I'm still muting myself.
Hey, we have it no other way here
Hashtag
on.
Mute Nation. Hashtag Mute
Mhm,
Nation. Along this, I'm gonna hop on over to this topic here, and that
mhm,
is, in every journey you take, there are challenges, and I've
mhm,
certainly had mine this year,
mhm,
and I will continue to have them. I remember, and I don't know if you remember, but my very first live stream, I think I muted myself almost half of that live stream,
mhm,
and I was really struggling. And I remember you saying in chat, "It's okay, keep going."
mhm,
So when you're coaching someone, you're coaching a live streamer, a content creator, and they're going through challenges. How do you approach helping them overcome those challenges? Because those challenges are friction points in their system and how they're working, right? So you're helping to move those out of the way. What do you do to do that? Because this whole year has been a struggle for me.
So one, I think I'm looking at the goal and why you're doing it. Why? Because when you go on YouTube and when you go on other platforms, you're getting a notification that someone's live, right? And so what that notification is saying is, this person has something of value, of importance, you need to listen to. And so now when you listen to the individual and you see them starting to have challenges in the midst of, because live streaming is in real time, and so you make mistakes in real time. My question then becomes, despite the challenges that you're having, what is the goal you are after with this live stream? Who are you trying to help? Why are you trying to help them? What's in it for you as well, as the individual? And as a person in the audience, once I start to get a feel of why you're trying to do it, and I can see where you're starting to have issues, then immediately, and then my mind is going to try to, in the chat, if I'm just engaging in the chat or even in the comment section, to say, hey, look, you know, despite whatever this particular issue is at this moment, the ultimate goal of what your show was about, your content, let's kind of stay focused on that, and let's learn from everything else and how to get better in the next live stream. So that's sort of my approach. Sometimes I will ask questions that I know you as the host, I know you know them. I know you're a person who is an expert in the subject matter, but I'm asking these questions so that it will create additional content that will build confidence in you. Your confidence will start to come up. And then the next person that comes on, they'll go, a light bulb in their head go, oh, I didn't know that. And so now there's a connection with you and the other 5 or 6 people who are watching you, who are watching you live. So sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's just, an encouraging word to say, just keep going. And everyone go #mute nation.
See, I'm still doing it. It's
No,
okay.
now let's stay on the mute nation for a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think one time you were real frustrated at one point about this, and we were talking it through, and you were saying when you were creating your scenes, some points in your scene would cause your system, correct me if I'm saying it correctly, which would cause your computer system to automatically go into mute. So sometimes it's a matter in the preparation of how we put our presentations together. Like when I use my presentations for my live streams, they're just basic. I don't put any animations to it. I don't put any music to it because I do it through Canva. But I'm quite sure Canva has these certain other additional features. And so from a simplistic standpoint, I eliminate those things so that way I don't have it. Now, maybe in Ecamm, there has to be a way when you're putting your presentations or moving to your next parts of your live stream that could possibly be disabled. And it could be a matter of something simple as that. So it may not necessarily be something you're doing. It just may in terms of how you put it together or the person doing the live stream, how they put it together.
Yeah, exactly. And so I, I want to talk about. I started out with a goal to just simply help people, help the audience, the people that I related to, the people that I came in contact with, the people who already were reaching out to me saying they were having all of these friction points and stuff that I teach in quote unquote in the real world
Mm-hmm.
to teach here with my own style. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like anyone else's, my own voice. Um, so one thing I want to say to the audience, if you're here and you don't mind, if you have a question, please go ahead and ask your question because Walter is a great person to ask questions of. He will answer you and you will not feel stupid when he answers you. He he has a way of
Thank
answering
you.
you and not making you feel like you're an idiot. So if you have questions, put your questions in. Please put a Q colon in front of them. But looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to this next year, now that the year has, we've gotten through this year, what would you, and I'm going to ask for public coaching here, what
Okay.
would you say you would look for me to start focusing on to get through this next year as a live streamer? And I know one of the things I do want to do is start doing uh, recorded video and consistently uploading recorded video. But other than that, this next year it's a blank slate right now.
I would say the first thing, which we kind of talked about in private, which when you started doing your series on the Stream Deck, that was geared towards professionals like yourself. It wasn't geared towards content creators. It wasn't geared towards live streamers. It was geared towards individuals who are professionals who work in the type of same field of work that you do. When you targeted them with that type of content, I saw and instantly started to see over time more views and increase on your content. 2, you also made content that was now, and I've shared your content in the past, but now you've made content that encourages people like myself, Joshua, Frank, to share it on the right type of platform. So I would say continue to keep making that type of content that is specifically for those types of individuals. The views and the subscribers, well, as you've seen now, from the time you started that series to where you're at now, you're starting to see where you've gotten your first 100. Number 2, I would say begin to work with your team in really working on better titles, better descriptions, because in this world that we live in, we always use our phones and we're scrolling and we're scrolling and scrolling. And I would think the same type of people that you're trying to reach, they're busy professionals. And so if you have the type of title, thumbnail, or description that's going to immediately grab them, it's going to be a potential additional viewer that ultimately can become a client. And then third and lastly, reflect on the 3 things that you learned the most in these first 100 subscribers.
Okay. Well, last week I did 11 for 11 months, 11 lessons that I learned, and doing that reflection.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a strong believer in doing assessments. Plan, do, review is a core pillar of the way I operate whenever I'm trying and working on anything. Plan,
Mm-hmm.
do it, then review the results, the friction, the things that went well, the things to continue doing, the things to stop doing, the things to change the way I do them. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
huge one, and I will definitely be doing more of that reflection throughout this month, because this month I'm really digging in, looking at, okay, over this last year, how has it been?
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned? What
Mm-hmm.
do you need to stop doing that you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you need to start doing that you're currently not doing? And
Mm-hmm.
so that coaching that you just gave me, I will take to heart. As you know, I don't just have you tell me stuff and then I ignore it. I actually
Mm-hmm.
apply it.
Thank
um,
you.
and what I can say this is, there is no way I would be doing this without you. I tease you,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm doing it because you did not intimidate me, and you let me know that I could be successful learning this medium, learning how to look at the camera, learning how to use a microphone when I'm not muting myself. uh,
Mm-hmm.
for that. Learning, even just putting the scenes together, at least I think they have. You can tell me if they haven't, but I think they've gotten a little sharper, and the
Mm-hmm.
way the information is flowing. And so all of those skills are ways to communicate a message that I already have. And I'd love
Mm-hmm.
your reaction to that thought, and if I'm way off track or if I'm on track or not.
I mean, there's so many things that I can try to grasp, but I think one in terms of I have to give a kudos to your team. And when you told me this story about Frank and how he got into live stream moderating, and how you basically said, either you're going to do this and I need help, so don't tell me no. And hear how he was just starting out doing this as a help, and now he's gotten more involved in the deeper end of how to be a moderator, that I would dare say that he could be an asset and help to others if they came along, and if he was able to make time and space available. He would be able to say, here's what you need to look for in finding a moderator, or here's how I can provide services in helping. So I like the way the things that you learned, how it's now extended itself through your team, also through your partnership with the emotional CEO, and how you share that when it's time to present to him thumbnails and certain graphic designs, that there's a deadline that you need to be able to make sure that those are made. These are the things off camera that we as content creators or individuals who productivity is important for their business, their franchise, their entrepreneur, and they need the assistance of content creators that they don't consider. And so as a result, sometimes things are not as successful for them. But for you to start out in just your first year and to get that under your belt, that's a major win for you. In having a live stream moderator, and I'm quite sure some other things that you probably have Frank and your brother Joshua doing. That's something you have to be applauded for, despite other small little things like muting yourself.
Yes, muted myself. I could not do this without them. I said it earlier. I really could not. You know, you all like the trifecta. Uh, I, if you recall, Joshua I talked about you and Ash so much that he was like, "Who are these dudes? Let me check them out."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And Frank is a quiet storm. He won't
mm-hmm,
push, but if you ask him, he will tell you honestly and give you some real honest feedback. And because he
mm-hmm,
has just, I'm spilling the beans, he has a broadcast background. So he
mm-hmm.
looks at everything from a broadcaster's eyes, which I didn't even know such a thing existed. But anyway,
No, that's
any,
important.
but
That's
anyway,
huge.
so he helps me in that way, and I'll continue to improve. And I will just say this: uh, this year has been a year of phenomenal growth for me
Mm-hmm,
personally, and I look forward to continuing to grow in the next year. Uh, Personal development, personal growth, getting my systems better,
mm-hmm,
more efficient, more effective, less mistakes. But let's be real, mistakes are going to happen. We're all human and we make
mm-hmm,
mistakes. If there's a human who thinks that they're not going to make mistake, they're fooling themselves and everybody else.
mm-hmm,
Because no matter who you are, you're going to make a mistake. Mistakes are normal and they're human. There are no perfect people walking around on this here earth.
mm-hmm,
And I want to just say to you, thank you for all that you've done this year to help me. And I'm going to suggest to everyone, if they have not subscribed to the channel, it is now time to subscribe. And if you're in chat and you're looking at chat later, you can also connect with me at florencedonald.live. I would say to you, if you love basketball, go by and check out NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. And if you are taking on a new journey of content creation, I would dare say check him out as a coach.
mm-hmm,
He won't leave you, and he. It's so funny when he's telling me. He'll say, "And now, so here's an opportunity for growth." I'm like, "Oh, gee, I
mm-hmm,
done did
mm-hmm,
something." But that's his way of saying, "I've got a correction for you." He'll say, "Here's an opportunity for growth," and I take it, and I don't give him pushback. But I also don't give pushback to Josh and Frank either, because if I didn't value what they're bringing,
mm-hmm,
then I'm
mm-hmm.
wasting their time and I'm being disrespectful. So while it may hurt sometime, and I may not like it sometime, I'm still gonna take it, because then I grow, and then I can help more people on this journey to achieve what they want to achieve, not what I want to achieve for them, but what they want to achieve in their area of expertise, whether it's ministry or nonprofit or in their profession, in their small business. So I'm going to do what I love to do, which is I love for my guests, and this has not changed, to
Okay.
give the last words of wisdom and insight. and then we're going to get out of here, and I'm going to let you go spend some time with your beautiful bride.
I appreciate that. My words of wisdom to the live tribe and those especially a part of Team Replay. Give us a hashtag Team Replay in the comment section if you've watched this up to this point. We truly appreciate it. My words of wisdom would come in the form of a question to you and to those who will watch up to this point. You want to start a YouTube channel. You want to start creating content, but you have a very limited budget and you realize you can't do this by yourself. And so you need a team. I would at some point reach out to Florence and ask her, how were you able to communicate that what was in your heart and share with your brother Joshua and your best friend Frank that they would want to come alongside and help you in these ways? And how can I then be able to, because family can be tough, family and friends can be tough. And so sometimes that's where we have to start. How do I, as a person now, reach out to someone that I feel will have my best interest, but to say, hey, I need your help in these ways for me to be successful, because they had to see that you could be successful and they want to buy into help. How do I, as an individual, now be able to make that same type of connection? And so that would be the words of wisdom that I would want you to share, if not tonight, in the next coming weeks, how you were able to make that connection. And I believe you will definitely speak not only to someone who's interested in being more productive in their profession, but even as a content creator.
Well, thank you so much, Walter. I have a huge amount of respect for you, and I don't take your time for granted. So thank you for giving up part of your Friday night, and thank you for giving up part of every week to hold a coaching session with me. It's only a few that we've missed because your daughter went off to school and, various things happen. But for the most part, we meet every week, and I really appreciate the time that you give me and the wisdom that you share. And I look forward to this next year with you.
All right. Me too. I'm looking forward. You're going to be at 500 very soon.
You see my eyes, right? You.
Yeah, 500.
Okay.
There's a bigger audience that you, again, once we know the target audience we need to reach, those numbers just unlock certain things that you need to make the platform grow. So once we get to 500, then there's 1,000. So once we get 1,000, then there's going to be things like super chats. And as a moderator, Frank is going to start seeing super chats where people are giving money and things like that. It's all part of the growth and the development, not for you, but for the whole team.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
There you go. Well, I'm going to put you in the green room, and then we're going to get out of here.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. There's going to be, I'm doing it wrong. Playlist is going to be linked up here. We've got 2 more weeks to get through the month. Good night, everybody.